So we're gonna be working on a haircut today that, you know, is really great because it's got a lot of movement to it. It's a layered haircut with a graduation feel. It's very Shatter. It's got a lot of movement to it. So we like to call this haircut the Shatter. So we're gonna start off by taking our section just about mid-crown. We're gonna bring that right down to behind the ear. Then we're gonna take another diagonal forward section right after that and bring that right behind the ear as well. So it's really just 3 sections on this haircut, very simple. Same thing on the other side, just bringing it down mid-crown right behind the ear. And then we'll take another section, diagonal forward, right behind the ear. Real quick color breakdown on this. Brian Hare did the color, he did a great job. It's our Purple Inkworks by Paul Mitchell. We put that at the base. He did a whole platinum card. So it was a really quick, kind of a quick technique for him just to go through and platinum card, and then he did a root touch up with the Purple Inkworks, which I really like because it really makes this haircut pop. And it's also, he smashed the Purple Inkworks through the ends, so it really kind of brought in that slate feel to the ends of the hair as well. So we're gonna go in vertical section, bring this straight out at 90 degrees. I think the main thing to focus on with this part of the haircut is just as we curve around the head, everything is coming straight out. So we're really removing the weight. We're not trying to build a weight line whatsoever on this part of the haircut. I think as hairdressers, we tend to build up too much weight at the occipital bone, not realizing the curve that's happening on the head. So just making sure we keep a nice, consistent elevation at this point is important. And as we go through in this part of the haircut, it's a traveling guide, so everything's coming to the previous and keeping it really simple, but we're not trying to push weight really anywhere. We're just making sure we have a nice consistency within how the hair is lying in this haircut. You'll see kind of combing the hair out of the way, really just trying to keep it nice and clean and organized. Follow it through the end. You can see my finger angle changes a little bit as I get to the bottom of that section because I want to make sure that my elevation stays at 90 degrees. And right here, real important, right behind the ear, just over directing it straight back from the head. We don't want to round that corner too much. We don't want to push too much weight behind the ear. We're really just trying to go straight back. Now the only thing we're going to change when we move to the right hand side, you'll notice now my fingers are pointing down. Again, this is come from a lot of videos that we've done already, but if you look at how I'm combing, I want to comb that new hair towards the guideline. So my finger position is going to change. It's really about staying comfortable, and the more comfortable you are, the more consistent you're going to be. So just however you need to hold the hair to be consistent, but make sure you're combing the hair the same way on both sides. One thing I look at when I'm going through and cutting it, I love doing these videos because it's a way for me to even watch exactly what I'm doing, what I would change about it next time. But you look at her head and how we have it tilt. You don't want to tilt it too far. A lot of hairdressers get into really pushing the head down. I think it's really just being aware of where the head is at and the elevation you have in your hand. So I look at how I'm holding the hair, how her head is tilt, and really that curve of the head, I can't stress that enough, is just looking at how the head shape is moving and how you're holding your fingers. So this is going to give the back of her hair a really soft feel, a really nice lie to it. You can see it'll just kind of feather onto her neck, which is great for when we go in with the dry cut. We'll have a lot to kind of mess around with. I'm working palm to palm. purple color that Brian put in there, he made it real heavy in the back, which is kind of cool. So I'm cutting out a lot of the blonde right now, kind of expose that purple color that was put in there. Again, you can see my finger angle is changing. My elevation drops because the head shifts in towards her neck. And right at that corner, everything comes straight back. I'm not trying to round this haircut. We definitely want to push the weight forward. There we go. You'll see that slight bit of weight jumping towards the front. And we're going to let down that second panel. I really just want to work with a little bit of hair at a time. You could take that whole panel if you wanted to. It probably would fit comfortably in your hand, but I'm really trying to work moving towards a horizontal at this point. So still diagonal. It's at slight diagonal forward, but I don't want to take too much hair because then you lose your guide, you lose your consistency. You're pulling hair from too far away. So just really try to take a little bit at a time. I like to spend as much time as I can on the wet cut, and then we can go in and really detail it dry. But just really focusing on that elevation. So now we're going to start to build more of a graduation in there. So you're going to see I'm going to slightly keep elevating, but now we're going to work our way down and build up a nice little weight line right there on the side. So now, as you can see, we're way below 90 degrees now, so we're definitely going to be building up a weight line. Everything's being over-directed back, so we're pushing a lot of weight forward. Just finishing off that panel. You can see that weight line starting to build right there. Now this part of the haircut, we were getting inspired trying to come up with things for this haircut, and we looked a lot at the Gatsby haircuts because of the movie that's out. And we wanted to really create a nice hard line on this side of the head, but we wanted to give it a little bit of a modern feel. So what we're gonna do is just take a little bit out of the temple, we're gonna braid it up, and then we're gonna put that right behind her ear and tuck it away. We'll use that as a disconnection, have a little bit of fun with it later. So then we're just gonna work horizontally, comb the hair straight down, and we're gonna connect it to that weight line that we started to create before. Now I'm gonna start with no tension in a zero elevation. I really just wanted to cut a nice little guideline in first. Then we're gonna go through and have it in our hand, but the less tension the better on this. Really let the hair fall the way it wants to, so that it's not bouncing around. If I put too much tension with my fingers and I cut it, then you never know how it's going to react later on in the dry part. So now I'm just going through, following that guide that I cut. Slight bit of elevation, again, keeping this very low. I'm trying to create a really nice hard line on this side of the haircut. Coming over top of that disconnection, you can see we have it clipped away, so I don't cut it, and just cutting a nice diagonal forward line. You want to make sure you don't elevate too much at this point, especially if you're trying to put that hard line in there, because the more you elevate, the more diffused the line's going to get. So one thing I've found out doing this, kind of cut, is you definitely do not want to elevate it too much. Using a lot more finger angle than anything, than over direction or anything like that. Just changing the finger angle, really creating that diagonal forward line in there. Now we're gonna work on the back portion of the head. This is one of my favorite parts. I like when I can, cut on top of my hand for one. And we're gonna keep our fingers parallel to the wall, and we're gonna work our guideline from the very first section that we cut. So really working from a short and cutting straight up. You're going to see that the elevation is definitely not at 90 degrees. We're not straight out of the head. We want to keep that line in there. And we're going to work with the traveling guide, but we're going to over direct it slightly past our previous section. So as I'm working through this part of the haircut, let's say I start at section 1 and I bring 2 to 1, but I'm going to bring it slightly past 1, so I just push a little extra weight towards the right side of the haircut. Really getting that elbow up, making sure that my fingers are parallel to the wall. I'm gonna clip away some of that hair. Take my new hair, put it into my guide, and then just slightly over direct it past my guide a little bit, just to push a little extra weight. You'll notice too, I'm really following the round of the head with this section. It's not a straight vertical section, a little bit more slightly diagonal back, and then over directing it towards myself. I would definitely say body position plays a big role in this, finger angle. You can see the length of the hair growing as we over direct it back. Keeping it nice and clean, get that other hair out of the way. Definitely helps you out if you want to have a nice consistent haircut. Just get that old hair that you've already cut that you're not dealing with anymore, get it out of the way. Last couple sections. And you'll notice even at the end, when I could just grab all that hair up and cut it, still pushing that old hair away, staying consistent all the way through the haircut. Fingers still parallel to the wall, over direction straight back. Now you can see that line that we built up. Now, just like the opposite side, on the left side, we're going to work on the right side horizontally, slight diagonal forward, not too much. We're going to take our guide now from the piece that we just got done cutting. So, clip away the top. hair guide from right there. And really what I wanted to do in this part was to follow the jawline. So you'll see my finger angle switches right to follow that jawline. I'm going to work my way through here, especially on the wet cut portion, and just really build in a nice solid line at her jaw, and then we're going to work our elevation a little bit later. So just bring the hair down until there's nothing left to cut. You'll see too with the combing, it's just really working those fine teeth of the comb, just trying to get all the loose hairs from the base, from the scalp, and then you can go in with your tight teeth later on, but just really working that hair, make sure I got every piece cut. There's nothing worse than sending your guest up to the front desk and seeing that loose hair there, and then you got to go cut it, bring her back to the chair and cut. Now right at the cheekbone, I'm going to put a little stamp, nice little horizontal line in there. That'll be something fun we can mess with in the dry portion of the haircut as well, but just cutting a nice little solid line. It'll bring out her cheekbone later. Now Brian's gonna go in, he's gonna do a nice little flat wrap, nothing fancy, quick and simple. Just preparing this for the dry cut. I think anytime you see anyone on stage or anybody you see in a salon that's going to do a really phenomenal shape, it's really all about the finish. So teaching your client how to do this, flat wrapping around their head. I mean, you can cut these kind of shapes on somebody's head, but if you don't teach them how to style it at home, then there's no point in really putting this shape on their head. So we're working through there, nice little flat wrap, really forming that hair to the head shape. What you'll notice too is he's really letting the blow dryer do the work, and the brush is just pushing the hair where it needs to go. So the blow dryer is not swinging around, he's staying consistent with that as well. Just really pushing that blow dryer around the head, forming the hair to the head shape, giving it a nice natural feel. He's going to go through, he's going to work the hair back the other direction. The goal here is to create really shiny, polished hair. So if the air is flowing over top of the cuticle, it's going to allow that cuticle to lay down smoother, and it's going to allow the hair to be shinier. So just really working that airflow over the hair, keeping it the same direction so that you don't mess up the cuticle of the hair. The leafing of the hair as he's lifting the hair up is really just giving it a little bit of lift at the base, because you don't want to flatten it too much to their head. Nobody looks good with flat hair, so just kind of smoothing, polishing it out, giving it a little bit of lift in there. Now we're going to go through with the smoothing iron. Just really focusing on creating the same shape as the head. So following that head shape, not trying to twist it, bend it too much, not trying to make it really poker straight, just working that iron, using the head shape as a guideline, and you'll get nice, smooth, polished hair. Now we're gonna go through with the dry cut. This is the portion that we did with a 0 elevation. So most important thing here, I'm putting it into the loose teeth of the comb, slight elevation, not too high at all. And I'm just going through with my comb, making that one blade move and just kind of carving out that line and just really making it perfect. Now, not even using a comb at this point, just using the tip of my scissor just to peel away a little bit of that hair. Now you can see that little stamp that we cut out in the front. I'm just gonna go through backhand with my scissor, using the stationary blade as a guide on her cheek, and just going through and cutting, just taking a little bit more of that out, just refining that line. Now we're gonna work the same diagonal back sections, pull out some of the hair, and I'm gonna start with a point cut real deep into the hair and then slide my hand out as I come up. What that's gonna do is create little short choppy pieces throughout the haircut. We're still working on a diagonal back section, and I'm not trying to remove the line. I'm not taking a lot of hair out. What I'm doing is just going in and removing just a little bit of the weight. You'll see that my scissor is pretty much straight in, so I'm not pulling out a lot of hair, but just little hairs throughout that whole section as I slide up. That's really going to create this shatter effect that we're looking for on the haircut. Now we'll go through just a little bit of hairspray. You can see it's a very cool shape. It's got a lot of movement to it. The color looks great. Brian did a great job. And this is the shatter cut.